We'll call our meeting to order. If you would, please have a seat and we'll get started, and we won't be here too long. Okay, first item I want to hear from Chairman Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I bring before this body H.R. 96 or S.R. 82. If you remember this bill, this was the pine tree bill for the severance tax. It passed out of the House 167 to 2, and in the wisdom of friends across the hall, they wanted to make some changes. So we were able to strip a bill and we were able to bring it back, and basically it's the same thing as it was before. We're setting a cap up to $100,000. We're also reimbursing the counties for any lost revenue after that $100,000, and it goes back to the original amount. Instead of the 40% fair market value, then it'd be at the 100% after $100,000. It's a constitutional amendment, so that's the bill, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
It's in the book. SR 82.
Okay, don't see any questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, now we have some substitutes we need to deal with. Senate Bill 12 by rule substitute, LC 49-1943S. Representative Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 12 is a substitute where we took Representative Chairman Leverett's Bill 375, which clarified that language on gross settlement for the purpose of determining whether a conservator can settle a claim of the ward if the gross amount is less than $25,000. We added that to 1264, which is the alternative to nurse discipline plan, the same as we have doctors and dentists and so forth. Representative Leverett had so many bills. This one did not make it onto the rules calendar. They both passed overwhelmingly out of the House, and neither made it onto the floor of the Senate.
Okay. Do we have a question? Kelly Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a question. Is this allowing non-physicians to make determination on somebody's ability? I guess if they're senile or things like that, are they making it or are they just treating them? My concern is somebody at that level making a decision saying if somebody is competent or not.
That was House Bill 291, Representative Scoggins' bill that added and authorized PAs and nurse practitioners or clinical nurses in that psychiatric field to determine whether they're, and of course professional counsels to perform those evaluations.
But can just any nurse practitioner be able to do it, or does it have to be a specialist? It's ambiguous.
That's the key word. They have to be a specialist in the field.
Thank you.
Kelly Cooper, do you have
Okay,
a question?
I have the same concern. It doesn't seem to read that way. It seems that a general nurse practitioners specialize. You know, if you're a nurse practitioner in pediatrics, you concentrate on pediatrics. If you're in a general one in general medicine, and even in basic nursing schools today, you get no training in psychiatric nursing, either in a 2-year school or a 4-year school, and you would not get it as a pediatric nurse practitioner or as a regular nurse practitioner. You would not get that thing. Now, the nurse practitioner that is specialized in psychiatry is right, but this seems to read differently.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to defer to the chairman of the committee that heard this particular bill, if I may, Chairman Hawkins. Did you hear from this bill?
Chairman Hawkins.
I have no intelligible comment on this.
Okay.
I mean, it says a nurse practitioner or a clinical nurse specialist in psychiatric mental health nursing. So it could be any nurse practitioner, and so many of them are getting their degrees through the mail these days and have not done other specialists. And to be a nurse practitioner in psychiatric and mental health, that is a specific specialty, and they do have to do extra training. And I sure wouldn't want any of these deciding that they're going to decide whether I'm competent or a family member is competent. I have no problem with the others, but I really have it with just generalized like that.
Mr. Chairman, it does say specialist in psychiatric and mental health.
Yeah. Chairman Leverett's here. Come up and shed some light on this for us, would you please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't know if I can shed light, but I'll try to contribute to the conversation. This was Representative Scoggins' bill, the portion which the chair lady is asking about. And my understanding is the reason the probate judges have requested this because in the guardianship and conservatorship cases, there's a terrible backlog across the state because they can't get the doctors available to do the evaluations. I can't address the chair lady's specific concern because I don't share her breadth and depth of knowledge of the different disciplines and professions. But my understanding is this is supported, and even Dr. Watson in the Senate had agreed to sponsor the bill on the floor, that particular one, because he felt that they were able to perform the process of just doing an evaluation for a guardianship or conservatorship. And apparently he disagrees with the chair lady, but that was the information I received about that portion of the bill, and it did, in that form, it did pass out of its assigned House committee last year and passed out of Senate Judiciary this year in that form.
Okay, I think we have a question for Chairman Newton. Did you have a question?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm just looking at lines 151 through 153. It looks like it's always been an evaluator that could be a physician, psychologist, or a licensed clinical social worker, looking on line 155. And what we're doing is we're adding PA, nurse practitioners, and then the clinical nurse specialist, but also a marriage and family therapist can be one of the individuals.
Yes,
I'm not sure I know enough about that training. And I'm not sure, is professional counselor, maybe it's, I don't know how, I'm not sure how rigorous professional counselor or marriage and family therapists are, even compared to a nurse practitioner. And you're right, a lot of them are online degrees, but.
Okay, let's just get a little order here about what we're doing. Okay. All right, any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, you've heard the explanation and the discussion. What's the pleasure of the committee? Is there a motion to pass? Second. We have a motion and a second to pass. Is there objection? There is an objection. All those in favor, raise your hand. Okay. All those opposed? It passes, okay? Now, I want a motion, need a motion to withdraw rule substitute to Senate Bill 69 LC 500922S. Have a motion to withdraw in a second. Is there any opposition? We have an objection to withdrawing that. All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. All those opposed, like sign. Motion passes, so it's withdrawn. Now, we're going to have a Senate Bill 69 by rule substitute, LC 500937S. Call on Representative Stevens to explain that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the Clarence B. Thomas statue that in the original Senate bill had it placed inside of the or on the Capitol grounds. This moves it to the appropriate place, which is going to be across the street at Nathan Deal Judicial Center. That's all that it does.
Okay. You've heard the explanation. What's the pleasure of the committee? Have motion and seconds to pass. All those in favor, is there any opposition? There is an objection. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, like sign. It passes. Okay. Senate Bill 76 by rule substitute, LC 473106S. Leader F. Stracer.
76. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is SB 76 was stripped and it's been replaced by Representative Anderson's legislation to allow for increase in the ability of public work purchasing. This legislation has been voted several times in the House, passed overwhelmingly with input that was received. This will now include local school systems. Again, all of this language was previously passed overwhelmingly in the House. Would ask for the favorable consideration of the committee.
Okay, you've heard an explanation of that. What's the pleasure of the committee? Is there a motion to pass? Have a motion and second. Is there any opposition? Okay, it passes. Next, Senate Bill 349 by rule substitute, LC 500939S. Chairman Blackman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I think probably the committee knows, we sent 3 different pieces of legislation on tax credits over to the Senate. This emphasizes, I think, the House's position after some things changed over there. These are 1180, House Bill 1180, House Bill 1182, and then a little piece of 1192. I'll go into the changes from the legislation as it left our body. There's an aggregation amount within the film credit. We moved that from 10 million down to 5 million. It also includes a trigger to hit the 2.5% limitation on annual transferability, and it is attaches it to the RSR. On 1182, for the affordable housing, it adds disabled persons as a preferential group. And then on 1192, we clean up the data center commission structure as that had been already passed by the Senate.
You've heard the explanation on 349. What's the pleasure of the committee?
Move to pass.
Have a move and second do pass. Is there any opposition? It passes. Okay. Now we want to set a rule supplemental calendar for today. Under modified structure, Senate Bill 12 by rule substitute, LC 491943S. Have a move and a second. Is there any opposition? Have opposition. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed? It passes. Senate Bill 36. Have a move and second. Is there any opposition? Have an objection. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed? It passes. Senate Bill 76 by rule substitute, LC 473106S. Have a move and a second. Is there opposition? It's on. Senate Bill 349 by rule substitute, LC 500939S. Have a move and seconds. Any opposition? Have an objection. All those in favor, raise your hand. All opposed? It's on. Under structured, Senate Resolution 82.
Move.
Have a move and seconds. Is there any opposition? It's on. Under structured, Senate Bill 69, rule substitute, LC 500921S.
Move.
Have a move and seconds. Is there any opposition? Have an objection? All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, like sign. It passes. All right, now we want to adjourn our Committee on Rules and convene our Rules Committee and take up House Resolution 1643, and Representative Stevens is going to explain that to us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a study committee on the civil rights movement, and especially the impact on travel and tourism. As you'll notice on the second page, a $73 billion economic impact and almost actually 442,000 jobs in 2022. So I would ask this committee to create this study committee so that we can see the impact of these of the civil rights and the tourism aspect on it especially.
Have a question, Whip Park?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the presenter of the bill, I know Representative Roger Bruce had an excellent study commission that would look at reparations. Does this study committee, or would this study committee also have an opportunity to address that? I know, for example, in South Africa, there was certainly a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Does this issue touch upon that?
That issue has not come up. This is looking towards, as far as I was concerned, the economic impact of the civil rights movement and its scope. I think that's moving outside of the issue of the resolution.
Thank you.
Okay, you've heard the explanation. What's the, for the committee, what's your pleasure?
Move to pass.
Have a move and second, do pass. Any opposition? It passes. Okay, thank you very much, and I think it's time for us to meet in the chamber.